Before I take questions from the press, I want to briefly address some of what we've been hearing lately from those who believe that we need to reopen faster than the science and the data dictates. Folks, I know this is hard. I know that people are hurting. This virus has taken many lives and destroyed many livelihoods. COVID-19 has turned our world upside down and stolen our sense of normalcy and stability. I want this to end just as much as you do. If I could take away the pain and the loss that you're feeling right now, I would do it in a heartbeat. But this virus is still among us. This pandemic is not over. And to pretend otherwise in a misguided attempt to reclaim what we've lost will only make this last longer. For leaders, there are no easy decisions in a pandemic. Every choice has consequences. And I know leaders across the state are struggling with these choices. And I have sympathy for them in that struggle. But what I don't have sympathy for is those so intent on disregarding science and logic, so afraid to tell their constituents what they may not want to hear, that they put more people's lives at risk. Here's what I want to say to those leaders. You weren't elected to do what's easy. You were elected to do what's right. To the small minority of businesses that choose to ignore the medical doctors and the data and to ignore your legal obligations to the residents of your communities, there will be consequences. Businesses and individual professionals that are licensed by state agencies will be held accountable for breaching public health orders. Counties that try to reopen in defiance may not be reimbursed by FEMA for damages they cause because they ignored the law. Local law enforcement and the Illinois State Police can and will take action. But there is no consequence the state could impose that is greater than the harm that you will do to your own communities. 192 Illinoisans lost their lives to this virus in the past 24 hours. 192. How is that not real to you? More people will get sick, get admitted to the hospital, and die if we don't stay the course and follow the guidance the experts have provided. To the elected officials out there who are playing to the crowd that ignores science and carries symbols of hate, step up and lead. Now more than ever, your communities need you. Don't let them down. One last thing before I take questions. I want to address something that I said yesterday regarding baseball and baseball players. I want to apologize for leaving the impression that baseball players shouldn't have the right to bargain to protect their health and safety. I absolutely support that right, and I should have made that more clear. Thank you, and I'd be happy to take any questions from members of the press.
Eric from ABC7, we'll start with you.
Hi, Governor. Good Wednesday to you and to Dr. Ezike. Downstate Madison County and Adams County have both authorized their own reopenings. You sort of referenced this just now, but other than withholding federal funds, what other enforcement mechanisms are you considering, and have you ruled out sending in state police?
Well, not just federal funds that we're talking about. As I just said, the businesses that ignore the executive orders, that ignore the law, will be held accountable by our Department of Professional Regulation, and will be held accountable by any licensing body, Liquor Commission, Liquor Control Commission, and others. So there are enforcement mechanisms here that we will be using against them. And I would again implore the leaders of these communities not to give in to the minority of residents who are clamoring to ignore the science and the data, but instead to follow the rules, to follow the law, and most importantly, to keep the residents of your communities safe.
Yeah, Greg Bishop from the Center Square has sort of a follow-up to that statement. What additional damage, though, would be done to local communities already reeling from the economic downturn if federal funds are withheld by your administration, if regulation gets involved and takes away some of the licenses of these business owners. I mean, these are folks that are already hurting. Who bears responsibility if their hardship gets even worse?
Well, they're the ones who bear the responsibility because they're the ones who are not following the rules. Let's be clear. What we're trying to do here is keep people healthy and safe and to reopen the economy simultaneously. And that's what the Restore Illinois plan does. Indeed, I would suggest to everybody that they take a look again at that plan, that it is more expeditious in many ways than the plan put out by the White House. But it also takes into account making sure that our healthcare institutions have the capacity to manage the people who will get sick as things reopen in the economy. If you do it too fast, what you're going to see is an overrunning of the healthcare system and, very importantly, many people getting sick, going into the hospital, ending up in ICU beds and dying.